So do you remember when we first met about 13 years ago and you started to woo me, as I say,
Yeah.
chase my tail, so to speak. And we were really wrapped up in each other in that puppy love phase, and nothing else mattered in the world but each other. And we were really excited, and we got really consumed in the gay culture.
Right. It's actually, that was the time period when we kind of threw all caution to the wind, and we just had a lot of fun. I mean, we really had a lot of fun, and that fun meant that we spent a lot of money.
Yeah, we were clubbing every weekend practically, going out
Right.
to happy hours, doing fancy dinners, living way beyond our means, even though, ironically, we're two financial services professionals. And at that time, we had 15 years worth of combined experience in the industry and telling people how to manage their money, but we weren't doing that so well ourselves.
Right. Well, we turned that around. We eventually turned that around. And one of the keys to turning that around was recognizing where we were at. And we, at that point, had a negative net worth of about $10,000. And so today we are close to a net worth of $500,000. And a lot of that has to do with a couple of things, some key things that we changed. And one of the biggest things that we think that helped us the most was, especially with our debt, was that we used something called the debt lasso method. You've heard of the snowball and the avalanche methods, but we use what we call the debt lasso method, and we figured out how to get all of our credit cards down to a 0% interest, which saved us tens of thousands of dollars in interest fees that we then rolled that money that we were paying into paying off our credit cards even faster.
Right. Yeah, that expedited us paying down our debt. The caveat to that close to $500,000 in net worth, I want to add, does not include any equity that we have in our home. We have a little reason for that. It's for another podcast or for another discussion, but that does not include the equity in our home. So, in hindsight, after years of reflecting on how we got into that financial situation, we forgive ourselves for getting into that $51,000 worth of credit card debt. For a couple of reasons. One was, we grew up in a place and a time when it wasn't okay to be gay.
Right.
So we felt like when we were out on our own, finally independent, making our own money, we kind of gave ourselves approval to live beyond our means and make up for all those years of being in awkward relationships or not being in any relationships at all. We also had, carried with us an inferiority complex that was expressed in the way we were spending and living at the time. And even though we found our community, the queer community, we were afraid that if we didn't meet their expectations, that they would reject us. And that was something that we feared.
I think especially when you think about the clothes that you would wear, having to look good and be seen and be at the right places at the right time and take the right kind of vacations, all of that kind of stuff really added to this need to be seen by the community as okay people.
Right. We were seeking validation still.
Right.
And, we carried with us some limiting money beliefs at that time, some of which we're still struggling with. And so we're working on those. But that combination, that trifecta of issues made for a quagmire of $51,000 worth of credit card debt.
Right.
And one of the things that we decided after we paid off our debt was we wanted to help people with their financial situations, and in particular the queer community, because as we've learned over the last couple of years, even though same-sex marriage passed in June of 2015, the fight for equality has not yet been won. And I don't want to make any projections about the next administration, but some people feel a little bit tenuous about what the next administration might bring to the queer community.
Right.
And it's incumbent upon us, in order to continue to fight that fight for equality, for us to not be distracted with our debt, to not be distracted by student loan debt, by not having enough for retirement, by living beyond our means, because we need to be financially secure, and so that we can continue to fight that fight for equality. One of the pillars of a strong queer community is that we're strong individually.
Right. And that's part of the reason why we wrote our book. I mean, that's part of the reason why we wrote the 4 Principles of a Debt-Free Life, because we found a way that we could pay off our debt, live a better life, and we wanted to share that with others. And we figured out these 4 principles as kind of the foundation of what it takes to go from being mired in debt and not focused on your future to being able to free yourselves of financial slavery and have a better plan for your future that you can actually execute on. Not just having a plan, but one that you can actually execute on. And that's why we wrote that book, and that's why we're trying to help so many people.
Exactly. I think there's so much advice out there that you can get lost in the information, and some advice is applicable to other people and vice versa. But we were able to, what worked for us, we figured out were these 4 simple principles. And if we felt that if they worked for us, they could work for lots of other people. And we felt like after we wrote 4 and the success that we've had with 4, we wanted to try to spread that message, the message of 4, to more people. So we have a podcast, a weekly podcast called Queer Money that talks about the financial nuances of the LGBT community. And what we decided to do for the month of January was each week, each Wednesday in January, we are featuring a different principle from our book for the 4 Principles of a Debt-Free Life to provide an audible exercise, audible version for each of those principles. And so hopefully we can reach a new audience, people who are a little bit more interested in audible education.
Right. And we've also done something that we didn't have necessarily with the book, and we've provided with each of the 4 principles, we've provided a free tool that you can use that will allow you to really dig deep into those principles, understand them a little bit better, and actually start exercising those principles right away. So it's not only is it something that you can listen to, but then once you're done listening to it, there's basically an exercise or additional information that allows you to continue to press forward in mastering those principles.
Right, and I want to stress that each of those deliverables is free, so there's going to be no charge to you for that. So we simply ask that you join us the month of January for our podcast, Queer Money. The best way to make sure that you don't miss any episode is to subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, and you can do so at the link below here, and you will get notification as soon as each of those 4 principles, the podcast, is published.
Right.
So thank you for your time. We hope that you join us, and we hope that we can help you. If you have any questions or comments afterwards, feel free to comment below this post here, or you can reach us at debtfreeguys.com at the contact page. We're also on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest.
Thank you.
Thanks.